بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Alhamdulillah, welcome back to another lesson of searching for words in the Hansware Dictionary. Inshallah, today we will be covering verb patterns, inshallah. So let's just get the laser on. Okay. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Here on the right hand side, we have al-bab. Al-bab, okay, normally we know it means door, but it can be used to signify verb patterns. So, on our right hand side, here we see nasara yansuru. ضرب يضرب سمع يسمع فتح يفتح كرم يكرم حسب يحسب. So notice here in the first 6 verb patterns, we can see that the past tense verb only consists of 3 letters. So in other words, this is known as thulathi mujarrad, triliteral verbs. So now, nasara yansuru, remember we said in the how we're linking this to the Hansware, because in the Hansware dictionary, when it comes to the verb section, the code you could say is used is AIU. AIU. So the past tense verb will be written followed by A, I, or U. So for instance, we have a word, it says dakhala you, that would mean it's on the pattern of nasara yansuru and it's dakhala yadkhulu. Okay? So A, I will mean that the second to last letter in the fi'l mudari will have a kasra. A means second to last letter can have a fatha. But because there are 6 verb patterns from the triliteral verbs, the AIU can be any one of these abwab, these verb patterns. Okay, so you don't always signify nasara yansuru. The past tense verb will be written. So when it says you, there's actually 1 possibility and 2. So in Hansware dictionary, if it says you, it could either be nasara yansuru pattern, like the skeleton form would be fa'ala yaf'ulu, or it could be karuma yakrumu pattern, fa'ula yaf'ulu. How do we know? Simple. The past tense verb will be written. So if it's karuma, it'll say Karuma. Karuma. It'll actually spell that out. Then it will say you. Next, we have A. A can also be 2 possibilities as well. So it could be fa'ila yaf'alu pattern, i.e. sami'a yasma'u, or fataha yaftahu. So for instance, we look at the word qara'a, and it says A. Qara'a, A will mean qara'a yaqra'u. Okay? We have a verb alima, and it says A. Alima, A will mean alima ya'lamu. So A, I, and you. For A, there's 2 possibilities. For you, there's 2 possibilities. And for I, there's 2 possibilities as well, which is ضرب يضرب. So we find the word kasaba, I will mean kasaba yaksibu. Hasiba, I will mean hasiba yahsibu, etc. There are other patterns as well, other verbs that come under this scale. So just remember this, when we see this in the Hansware dictionary, okay, the past tense verb will be actually transliterated. Now moving on, that's just mentioned about the word al-bab. It means verb patterns. So we're going to come across these other patterns as well. Let's just go through the headings. As-sahih. As-sahih is when the root letters does not consist of a waw, like we can see here. It don't consist of the middle letter don't consist of a harf illa, or the last letter. So you don't have alif, waw, or ya in any of the root letters. Or there is not even a hamza or 2 letters of the same type. So sadda actually is sadada yasdudu. So sahih, when a pattern is deemed to be sahih, it means that it does not contain alif, waw, ya, hamza, or 2 letters of the same type. Why we're saying this? Because when we come to the verb patterns later on, Hansware is just going to give you the Roman numeral. But how would you actually pronounce and say the rest of the verb pattern in terms of mudari and masdar. Okay, that is why you need to know misal, ajwaf, naqis, mahmuz, and mudaf, because the actual sahih pattern, the sound form becomes, you could say, contaminated. Okay, what's mithal? Mithal is when the fa kalima, so when we pair up the verb with the its skeleton form, the fa kalima consists of harful illah. So it could be alif waw ya. Okay, well, most probably will be waw and ya, because if it's a alif hamza at the beginning, it'll be actually fall into mahmuz. Okay, so what's mithal? When we pair up with the skeleton form, so for example, we have any verb and we pair it up with wajala, with fa'ala, the fa kalima consists of harful illah. What is harful illah? Alif, waw, and ya. What's ajwaf? When the middle letter, so i.e. the ain kalima, consists of harful illah. Ajwaf. Okay? So qala yaqulu originally was qawala yaqwulu. So remember we mentioned if you change into the future tense verb, the original letter comes back. So yaqulu suggests that it was qawala. So ajwaf is when the ain kalima consists of harful illah, alif, waw, or ya. So qala was qawala yaqwulu. So he had a harful illah in the ain kalima. Naqis is when the lam kalima consists of harful illah. So da'a yad'u. Originally was da'awa yad'u. So that's what we term as naqis. And mahmuz basically is any of the root letters consist of hamza, whether it's at the beginning, middle, or end, whether it's on the fa kalima, ain kalima, or lam. It can go into subcategories here. If the fa kalima consists of harful illa, then it's known as mahmuzul fa. If the ain kalima consists of harful illa, like we have ra'ufa here, then it'll be known as mahmuzul ain. And if the lam kalima consists of harful illa, for example, qara'a yaqra'u, qara'a fa'ala, the hamza, when you match it with fa'ala, it comes under the lam kalima, then it will be known as mahmuzul lam. But I've just left it brief and general. Okay, so any of the root letters consist of hamza, it will be known as mahmuz. And mudha'af is when any of the two letters, okay, are of the same type. So sadda, the root letters are sad, dal, and dal. So sadada yasdudu. So when it's mudha'af patterns, you will see normally there's incorporation, there's idgham. That's why you don't say sadada yasdudu, you say sadda yasuddu, farra yafirru. So let's just read through these patterns, and then I'll mention when we get to Bab Taf'il a bit more. So Nasara, the Sahih form, the pattern will be pretty straightforward. Fa'ala yaf'ulu. Then we have, if it comes, harful illa comes at the beginning, wajala yawjulu. So still more or less the same, but there's like, you could say, mad lean here, yawjulu. So it's kind of like a bit drifting away from yaf'ulu. The sound of, the normal sahih pattern is a bit defected here. Wajala yaw julu. When it comes to ajwaf, from nasara yansuru, it will sound like qala yaqulu. So for example, you have a word yakunu. You can straight away understand from yakunu that is from nasara yansuru. Which category? Ajwaf. Like yasumu, sama yasumu, saqa yasuqu. So once we become, acquainted with these verb patterns, it's easy for us to know which actually verb pattern is actually generated from. So da'a yad'u, da'a yad'u. Okay, and then if it's mahmuz, it sounds like akala ya'kulu, abrupt sound. And then mudha'af will be sadda yasuddu. So notice here, each verb scale here will have the similar types found. So mithal, ajwaf, naqis, mahmuz, mudha'af, but they might sound a bit different to the other verb patterns. So look at daraba yadribu. So we got wajada, okay, and it was yawjidu, yadribu. Okay, so the waw drops off in the fail mudhari here. So if the hands were dictionary, you checked up the verb wajada and he said I, you should understand from there, because it's harful illa, it's mithal, and it's from daraba yadribu, we are not going to say the waw. We're not going to say wajada yajidu. We're going to say wajada yajidu. So for example, wa'ada, to make a promise. So if he says wa'ada I, that means it'll be wa'ada ya'idu. So notice here, from nasara and daraba, the waw is maintained in nasara yansuru when it comes under mithal, but under daraba yadribu, the waw is dropped off. Okay? And then when we see that there's a harful illa in the middle letter, then it will sound like ba'a yabi'u, zada yazidu. Okay? And if there's a harful illa in the lam kalima, it sounds like baka yabki. So you check up the word baka in the handswear, under ba, kaf, and ya, it will just say baka I. Now you're thinking baka I, what does that mean? How are we going to say baka I? Because there's a harful illa in the lam kalima, it will sound like baka yabki. And the reason why we're covering these verb patterns is you might not be able to memorize all of them now, but the resource is there in the dashboard. You can take a screenshot, you can do whatever you want. But once you become familiar with these subcategories, okay, when you see the AIU principle found or you see these Roman numerals, you will be able to, inshallah, slowly and gradually determine the verb pattern even in the defected state as well. So this is when it becomes the Sahih pattern becomes kind of contaminated, okay, because of the huruf illa. So the athara ya'thiru sounds a bit the same, but it's just abrupt, and then the mudha'af form will be farra yafirru. Originally was farara yafriru, okay, because two letters of the same type will incorporate and it sound like farra yafirru. Then we have sami'a yasma'u. So we have a verb, for example, alima a, we know it's alima ya'lamu. Okay, but how about if you're checking the word yaqidha and it says a, the harf illa will remain yaqidha yaqadu. Now we got the word khafa. Khafa, original letters are kha, waw, and fa. So the middle letter consists of harful illa. So it's known as ajwaf. Okay, so khafa. So now if you see in the Handsware dictionary under khafa a, how would you say the verb pattern? Okay, because we know that a is second to the last letter, fatha, but this has undergone changes, so it was actually khawifa yakhwafu. But because it's got harful illa waw, and if you've covered the sarf rules, you'll know that eventually becomes khafa yakhafu. So it'll sound like that. Khafa yakhafu. Nasiya yansa, sami'a yasma'u. This is when the lam kalima is harful illa. So nasiya, we can see the ya harful illa here. So nasiya a will be nasiya yansa. That's how you would generate the fail mudari. Anisa ya'nasu sounds pretty much the same. And then wadda yawaddu. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of these, but this is kind of how it works out to be. Sometimes you will see that the waw remains, okay, and sometimes it's removed, okay. So you can see in hasiba yahsibu, okay, the waw in the fi'l mudari is removed. In fataha yaftahu, okay, the waw in the fi'l mudari is removed, and also in daraba yadribu, okay. In nasra yansuru it remains. I couldn't find any examples for naqis, for karuma yakrumu, hasiba yahsibu, ajwaf. If anybody does come across any, inshallah, please do let me know. I can add those examples on as well. Okay, I could add that to the blank spaces. That's how the triliteral verbs work, thulathi mujarrad. Now, notice here, you have not got the masdar, because Hansware will actually transliterate the masdar for you. So for Nasara Yansuru, for instance, it'll say N-A-S-R. So Nasran or Nasr. Okay. Daraba Yadribu, it'll probably say D-A-R-B. Darb. Okay. So for these first six abwab, Hansware will actually transliterate the masdar for you. So the Mazi will be transliterated, the Mudari will be the AIU, and the masdar will actually be transliterated and sometimes even provided in Arabic, but without the vowel markings. Now, the question is when it comes to 2 till 10. So remember, last week we did the Roman numerals. So 2 signifies Bab taf'il, fa'ala yufa'ilu taf'il. 3 signifies bab mufa'ala, fa'ala yufa'ilu mufa'ala. Number 4 signifies if'al, af'ala yuf'ilu if'al. 5 is tafa'ul, tafa'ala yatafa'alu tafa'ulan. Number 6 is tafa'ul, tafa'ala yatafa'alu tafa'ulan. Number 7 is infi'al, infa'ala yanfa'ilu infi'alan. 8 is ifti'al, ifta'ala yafta'ilu ifti'alan. And 9 is if'ilal, which is if'alla yaf'alu if'ilalan. And 10 is istif'al. So istaf'ala yastaf'ilu istif'alan. So notice here, I've just mentioned all the sahih, the skeleton forms here as the sahih. Okay, because it's easy to kind of refer to. Okay, so when you have a verb, for instance, okay, and it contains a harful illa, and it's from bab taf'il. Bab taf'il. So an example here is wahada. So you're checking up in the hands where waw, ha, and dal. You want to know what does wahada mean. It will give you the Roman numeral number 2. It won't give you the mudari and it won't give you the masdar. Okay, this is where this comes into it. Okay, so the masdar, the masadir from 2 till 10 is fixed. You can kind of like it's auto-generated. As long as you are familiar with the verb patterns, the madi, mudari, and the masdar, when you see the number, you'll be able to generate the mudari and the masdar. Handsware will not do that job for you. That's why I've mentioned this here. Taf'il 2 is not always pretty much sounding like fa'ala yufa'ilu taf'il. For example, look at صلى يصلي tasliyatan. That does not sound like straightforward fa'ala yufa'ilu taf'il. So the mithal form might sound a bit the same. Wahada yuwahidu tawheed. Okay? So still just a bit off from taf'il, tawheed because of the waw, harful illa. Ajwaf might sound a bit the same as well. So we can see the ain kalima is harful illa waw. So hawwala yuhawwilu tahweel. So it kind of still, because it's got harful illa waw, it still will be classified as ajwaf. However, it may sound still a bit the same. Now the difference comes when we see that there's harful illa at the end. Okay, harful illa at the end. So which is obviously deemed to be naqis. So it'll sound like صلى يصلي tasliyatan. For example, another word we see is samma yusammi tasmiyatan. Like in the Quran, tasmiyat al-untha. Okay, so samma yusammi. You're looking for this word, you want to know what samma yusammi means. The root letters, obviously in that you've seen meme and waw. Okay, the ya is not actually the original letter. Okay, so samma, you search for that in the Handsword dictionary under number 2, and then it will only give you the meaning but not the mudari and the masdar. This is where this comes into it. So samma 2 will mean samma yusammi tasmiyatan. And if it's mahmuz, it'll sound like addaba yu'addibu ta'dib, more or less a bit the same, but because it's got the hamza, it'll be a bit abrupt in the masdar. Ta'diban, taf'ilan. The mudaf form will sound like karrara yukarriru takrir. Okay, so because obviously in mudaf in the triliteral verbs, okay, you incorporate it here. Actually, you've got the idgham there, okay, in karrara. Okay, so you kind of merge it into the first ra with the previous letter. So karrara yukarriru takrir. Bab mufa'ala, the sahih form will fall under fa'ala yufa'ilu mufa'alatan. So qabala yuqabilu muqabalatan. Okay, so notice here that someone can't say fa'ala. Well, isn't there's an alif here? Isn't that harful illa? No. When you look at the original letters, root letters, that's what we're deciding when we say mithal adwaf al-naqis. So fa, ain, and lam. So notice here, yasara. The ya is harful illa. Okay? So the mithal form will sound like yasara, yuyasiru, muyasaratan. The ajwa form will be jawaba, yujawibu, mujawabatan. And the naqis form will sound like nada, yunadi, munadatan. Mahmuz form will sound like kafa'a, yukafi'u, mukafa'atan. And the mudha'af form will be ضار يضار مضارة. Okay, so if you're looking for this word in the Hansway dictionary, you'll search it for under ضاد and ra, under number 3. But it will not give you even the mazi as well. So ضاد ra number 3 will sound like ضار يضار مضارة. Okay, إفعال, same thing. The sahih will be أفعل يفعل إفعالا. The mithal will sound like أوجب يوجب إيجابا. So notice there's a stretch here. Okay, and أجوف will be أراد يريد إرادة. In أراد, the root letters are ra, waw, and dal. Okay, the alif is not definitely the original letter, and it's not ya. Even though in the mudari we see yuridu. A bit like أقام يقيم إقامة. Okay, in أقام يقيم إقامة, the root letters are qaf, waw, and mim. So the naqis form will sound like awsa, yusi, isa'an. So you're checking for this in the Hansway dictionary. Waw, sad, and ya. It gives you number 4, but it don't even give you the madi. It don't even give you the mudari. It don't even give you the masdar. This is where this comes into it. Okay. Number 4, harful illa at the end. This one's actually got harful illa at the end and also under the fa kalima. And those who are acquainted with the surf, they'll know this will come under actually al-lafif al-mafruq. But there's two harful illa, one in the fa and one in the lam. But here obviously I just brought in the naqis. So awsa yusi isa'an. And the mahmuz form will sound like amana yu'minu imanan. And the mudha'af form will sound like ahabba yuhibbu ihbaban. Okay, so you're looking for this verb haba, number 4. It just gives you the meaning, but how do you know how you're going to pronounce? It says bab if'al, so af'ala yuf'ilu if'al, but the verb is habba in the thulathi mujarrad. Number 4 will sound like ahabba yuhibbu ihbaban. So, you kind of get the picture now. What I would say is, in your own time, inshallah, if you go over these verb patterns, remember the Roman numerals, and also remember how the word sounds in the Madi Mudari form under these different categories. Mithal, Ajwaf, Naqis, Mahmuz, and Mudha'af. Okay? Istif'al, same thing here as well. Istawfa, Yastawfi, Istifa'an. Okay? Istajaba, Yastajibu, Istijabatan. So the original letters are Jim, Waw, Ba. You've searched for Jim, Waw, Ba in the Hansway dictionary. Obviously, you see number 10. So how are you going to generate Jim, Waw, Ba number 10? Istajaba, Yastajibu, Istijabatan. Okay? Istaqama, Yastaqimu, Istiqamatan. And then obviously the naqis form will sound like istaghna, yastaghni, istighna'an. And the mahmuz will sound like ista'dhana, yasta'dhinu, isti'dhanan. And the mudha'af form obviously will be with idgham, istahabba. So you found haba, but you want to know the meaning of what istahabba means. Okay, and you checked on number 10. But what is the mudhari and masdar sound going to sound like? It's going to sound like yastahibbu. So there's a bit of mistake there. It's not istahabba yastahabbu. Istahabba yastahibbu istihbaban. Okay, so this is like kind of, you could say, this is not the complete list of verbs, but it's only according to Hansway. There are other abwab as well, which obviously I did not include, just for the sake of obviously just going according to what's in Hansway. So I have missed some abwab out as well. For the full list of abwab, they are in the provided on the dashboard. Okay. Any questions before we move on from here? This is obviously probably a bit too much to take in, meaning in terms of the verb patterns. In your own time, obviously, you can kind of like go through and become familiar with these verb patterns. It will help a lot, okay? Because this is what students normally struggle on. They can't kind of like generate the mudari and the masdar. How do you know that this is the masdar? So, for example, here, nada, yunadi, munadatan. By the way, the masdar of number 2 till 10 will always be fixed. Okay, because you can auto-generate kind of like these verb patterns. That's why Hansway don't give you the mudari masdar, because the patterns are the same. So fa'ala yufa'ilu taf'il. So you're looking at the dal ra sin. Number two, you'll be able to say darasa yudarrisu tadris. Ain lam mim number two, allama yu'allimu ta'lim. So the mudhari masdar will always, sound this. Well, it'll be fixed. You can kind of like apply the mudhari masdar to whichever verb comes under number two, but you can't do that with the triliteral ones, sulati mujarrad, because the masdar varies. For example, nasara yansuru, the masdar of nasara yansuru is nasran, but if you say dakhala yadkhulu, it's not dakhlan, it's dukhulan. Okay, so daraba yadribu darban, but then you got jalasa yajlisu julusan. Okay, so fu'ul is not a masdar for nasara or daraba restricted, no. When it comes to 2 till 10, the masdar is always fixed. And then obviously, depending on if it contains harful illa, it'll sound accordingly. Okay, tawheedan, tahweelan. How do you find type 11 or forms in the dictionary? Good question. They're very uncommon. Okay, so the only way I could see is if you come across a verb, okay, under that category, it does actually go into those type of verb patterns as well. So you got number 11 and you got number uh 12, 13, I believe. Okay, so they do signify other verb patterns. If I'm not wrong, okay, you can check up itma'anna, yatma'innu, itmi'nanan. Okay, that might come under like an odd pattern. You can't really search for a verb in that pattern, like unless you know which verb falls under that pattern, if you know what I'm trying to say. So it will actually sometimes give you the odd verbs here and there. Okay. So I think we'll just move on now, inshallah. Is there any reason why Hazrat did not include those? Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why he did not include those above. Probably they was less frequently used, could be a reason, and he just mentioned the common ones. Okay. So here now, inshallah, this is we're just going to go through abbreviations in Hansware. Some of these we've actually become kind of familiar with because as we were doing the earlier lessons, I kept repeating them. So it will be easy for you to understand this. So number two in Hansware, you see a little number two. So like you see here, bakhilun, plural bukhala'u, and it's got the number two. Okay. Number two means it's غير munsarif, so you won't say bukhala'un, you'll say bukhala'u, and it means a greedy miser skinflint. Okay, so number two means غير munsarif, and it'll be small. I've kind of enlarged the size. So round ha means rational entity, and a butterfly ha means irrational entity. So for example, we have here, look at number 4, the abwab number 4 for ta'ina mim. So number two would obviously be bab taf'il, ta'ama yut'imu tat'im. But number four will be bab fa'al, so it'll be at'ama yut'imu it'am. And you could see here it's going from right to left. That's one thing to note as well. So it's giving you this round ha, which means someone, and the next butterfly ha means something. So to feed someone and then something. So more precisely, I didn't actually realize I didn't write it there. It's actually rational object and irrational object. Okay, rather than entity, it's actually object. Is saying that the round ha will give that meaning when you use it with a rational object. Okay, so the maf'ul bihi is aqil, and the round ha is when the maf'ul bihi is غير aqil, irrational. Okay, so items, animals sometimes, etc., etc. So to feed someone something, what this is actually suggesting to you, the two has is this is a فعل which is متعد إلى مفعولين. It's transitive to two maf'uls. It requires two maf'uls. And within the two has is also explaining to you that one maf'ul will be an aqil, it'll be a rational object, not entity, it's actually a rational object. And the butterfly highs is also the second maf'ul will be an irrational object. So I fed Zaid, and you could say chicken or meat, whatever, etc. The UN does not mean United Nations, by the way. UN means is jam'un mudhakkarun salimun. Okay, so muallimun, PL means una. The plural is una. So you, in other words, muallimun, muallimuna. So you might see in the hands where PL and it says UN. Okay, so the U with the line at the top is a stretch. The una sound, i.e., to make plural of this word, it's actually jam'un mudhakkarun salimun, and you just add waw and noon. So muallimun, plural una means muallimuna, and it means teacher. Then we got AT. Okay, so muallimatun, plural AT. Okay, that means at, woman, teacher. So muallimatun, plural at means muallimatun. And the at is actually with ta'un mabsutatun, a flat ta, not a round ta. Okay, so these are just abbreviations we're going through now. These are things to look out for when you're looking for words in the Handsword Dictionary. PL just means plural, which we've just mentioned. Qirtasun, PL, okay, means plural, and it's qaratis. Just little things I just thought it might be beneficial, okay, because sometimes, people can be unaware of these things, okay. The round ta we see here, singular form. So nakhlun is actually a collective noun. Date palms. So nakhlun actually means date palms. It's used in as a collective noun. So when you're talking about something in general terms. But to make this now, and then you can see collective noun. I could have just put the O there because the dot is taking the space of that O anyway. So it would have been noun anyway. But anyway, collective noun. This ta means if you want to make this word collective noun singular, you just add ta'ul wahda. Ta'ul wahda. This ta is known as ta'ul wahda. The ta of singularity, meaning it makes it singular. So nakhlatun will mean a date palm. So sometimes you'll see words, it'll say collective noun ta. That means if you want to make it singular, you just add a ta. Nakhlatun. Okay. Prep, okay, means preposition. So fi is a preposition, and preposition is actually a word which denotes the position of a noun. Okay, so fil masjid, in the masjid. So basically, Zaydun fil masjid, Zayd is in the masjid. So a word which denotes position. So fi just means preposition. So under ila, you might say prep. No need to worry. You don't need to prepare any food. All it just means is it's a preposition. Okay, pron means pronoun. So huwa, okay, PERS means personal, pron means personal pronoun. Okay, he, it, third person, singular. Okay, so that's what pron means. Okay, pass. Okay, does not mean pass the book. Dahisha a, and it says pass. Pass means if you was to use this verb in the passive voice, you can also say duhisha. Okay, duhisha. So notice the scene with the kind of like that symbol there signifies sheen. So dahisha a means we know now means yadhashu. So dahisha a means dahisha yadhashu, and passive meaning duhisha will can also give the same meaning. It means to be astonished, amazed. Okay, this comes in Qasasun Nabiyyin as well, if I'm not wrong. Okay, waduhisha nasu, and the people were, um, amazed and surprised, dumbfounded. So there you could say dahisha from sami'a yasma'u, and you could also say the passive form and say duhisha, and it'll also say give the same meaning. So remember, pass here does not mean pass the ball or anything like that. It means passive verb. Okay, so you have active verbs, you have passive verbs. In Arabic, fi'lun majhulun. Okay, call n dot un. Okay, means collective noun, which we just mentioned before. So tufahun means apples. So apples in general, you're talking about. So collective noun, at-tufahu. And notice here, we just mentioned that, didn't we? The round that. That means if you want to make this word singular, you just say tufahatun. And now that will mean an apple. Okay? And at also, we just done that as well. Okay? And that means tufahatun. N.UN means nonsense, United Nations. Load of nonsense. Okay? No, we don't. N dot U dot N means noun. Okay, like I said before as well. Instead of the dot, they could have just put the O. Okay, so it just means noun, collective noun. Okay, so it's just the dot is just in place of the O. Okay. Um, yeah, so notice here, tufahatun. So tufahun means apples. What would be the difference between tufahun apples and tufahatun or tafafihu? The difference is, I've mentioned this to you before as well. If you're talking about apples in general, like at-tufahu ladhizun, apples are tasty. Okay, then you'll use at-tufahu. You want, there's no need to say at-tufahatu ladhizatun or ladhizatun. So when you're talking about something in general terms, you'll use the word at-tufahu. But if you are using plural, but not in general terms, but you actually use like in terms of a number, okay, I ate apples. You won't say like akaltu tufaha. How many apples did you eat in general terms? You're saying like a number. You probably would say akaltu tufahat. I ate the apples. Then in that situation, you're not referring to apples in general terms. You're actually, mentioning it in terms of a number. Okay, so does that make sense? Okay, what kind of animation is this? I didn't realize. Okay, abbreviations. Okay, it's been probably a while ago. I worked on this, so hopefully it's all set. Okay, so we're basically going through the whole summary of what we've done in this course, and then inshallah we'll continue after that. A means yaf'alu. Everyone agree with that one? I means yaf'ilu. You means yaf'ulu. So straightforward, isn't it? Number two means fa'ala yufa'ilu taf'il. Number three means fa'ala yufa'ilu mufa'alatan. Number four means af'ala yuf'ilu if'alan. Number five means tafa'ala yatafa'alu tafa'ulan. Number six means tafa'ala yatafa'alu tafa'ulan. Number seven is infa'ala yanfa'ilu infi'alan. We've said it that many times by now. I think you probably have memorized it, and you're probably sick to death of me repeating myself. Okay. Number eight is ifta'ala yafta'ilu ifti'alan. And number nine is if'alla yaf'alu if'ilalan. And number 10 is istaf'ala yastaf'ilu istif'alan. Okay. What else we did learn in terms of abbreviations? Past means passive verb. Prep means preposition. Pron means pronoun. PL means plural. ADJ means adjective. We didn't actually mention some examples of that. FEM means feminine. Okay, didn't give an example of that as well, so it's not really a good course, has it been? MASC means masculine, so you'll see words and it'll show you. So sometimes, for example, like Darun, it might say FEM and MASC, because Darun it can be used as masculine and feminine. So some words can be used as both, okay? So you might see the word Ain, okay, and you might say FEM, that means feminine, okay? Uh, ADV means adverb. Okay, so that'll probably be like your dhuruf zaman and makan, etc. Adverb of time and place. Sing means don't. It does not mean sing a song. It means singular. Trans means transitive. Call means collective noun. The round height rational object. So that's what I need to do. Put on the other slide. So my mistake there. The butterfly ha is the irrational object, and un means una sound, and alifanta means at. Okay, so muslimatun. And then two means no tanween. In other words, غير munsarif. So you may want to take a screenshot of this. It may be actually useful for yourself. So I'll leave that on for about 10 seconds. Okay, you can take a screenshot or whatever you want to do. This is in a nutshell what we have covered so far of searching for words in the Hansware dictionary. Okay, so 5 seconds have gone. 5 more seconds, inshallah, and then we'll move on to the next slide. Okay. Probably you might be asking how long left of the course. Okay. Probably I would say another 1 or probably 2 weeks. Okay. And then Inshallah, that'll be and then at the end of it, and those who actually registered will be issued, inshallah, with a certificate, hopefully, if I can prepare that on time. Okay, so let's move on. There are other things we need to cover now. These things are important now. Okay, so here, correct recognition of a word. To find the correct meaning of a word, one must see how the word has been used in the sentence. The meaning of a verb can change depending on either the noun or particle it has been used with. So two key things. The noun or the subject of the verb affects the meaning of the verb or the particle. So look at these two things. Pay attention to noun, or you could say the subject, and the particle. And I'm going to give you scores of example, inshallah, how this plays out. So we've got the word Salla. What do you think Salla means? Anybody? Salla? Anybody? What does the word Salla mean? You can put it in the chat, inshallah. Okay, I've been talking a lot. Okay, so let's make this a bit interactive. Pray, to pray. Okay, it's fine. Anybody else? He prayed. Okay, fine. Pray, fine. Okay, whether you're translating. Do you know any other meaning of Salla as well? Salla. Any other meaning? Send salawat, meaning send blessings, okay, or salutations, dua, good. So, mashallah, you don't need to do this course, okay. So, Salla Zaydun al-Fajr. Zayd prayed Fajr. So that's the one you always say. Yeah, correct. I hope I've got my translation right. Okay, if I haven't, then you'll have to put up with that. So Zayd prayed Fajr. So that's the common one everyone mentioned. Okay, so Salla Zaydun al-Fajr. Now we got Salla Zaydun bin Nas. What do you think this means? Salla Zaydun al-Fajr. Zayd, so we got Fa'il, Salla, we got the fa'il, which is Zayd, and we got the Maf'ul bihi. But here now we got Fa'il, we got the fa'il, and we got Jar Majroor. Salla Zaydun bin Nas. Zayd prayed for the people. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so anybody with Zayd prayed with the people. Zayd prayed with the people. Okay, so to lead people, yes, mashallah. Okay, so Zayd led people in prayer. Zayd led people in prayer. I think more or less people are looking at the ba, and the normal meaning of ba means with. Don't always look at the huruf jar and always translate it as literally as possible. No. When you use the word salah with B, it means to lead people in prayer. So here, notice here, Zayd prayed Fajr. But when it comes with ba, it does not mean prayed, that the person prayed. It means the person led someone in prayer. Okay? So which the ba has changed the meaning of the verb salah to lead people in prayer. So let that sink in for a bit. Here we have the fa'il, which is Zayd. So that means to pray. Pretty straightforward. Here we got the fa'il, fine. But then we've got the ba as well. So salah with a fa'il and ba will mean to lead in prayer. Okay, so Zayd led people in prayer. Okay. Next we have is Sallallahu ala Muhammad. So does it mean to pray? We got ala as well. So Ismul Jalala is the file here. We got the preposition ala. Okay, so that could have possibly been in red as well. So what does this mean? Sallallahu ala Muhammad. To bless. Okay, so may Allah bless Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Okay, so Salah when it's used with Allah, it means to bless. Okay? Literally, this means Allah has blessed Muhammad. Allah has blessed. But the past tense form can be used for dua because when somebody makes dua for someone, they want that to happen is as if though that has already taken place. So, for example, somebody wants someone to become cured. Okay, so you say Shafak Allahu. That literally translates as Allah has cured you. But what it means is may Allah cure you. But the past tense has been used to demonstrate that the ones who saying this, he hopes that takes place is as if though it has happened. So that's why the past tense form can be used, and it's actually part of balagha. It comes under وضع الخبر موضع الإنشاء, to use informative sentence in the place of non-informative. Okay, so those who are interested in the balagha course that we do, alhamdulillah, we are currently covering the balagha course. We've covered all of ilmul ma'ani. Ilmul bayan is coming towards its conclusion, and we'll be starting inshallah ilmul badi'. So wadul khabar mawdi al insha, wadul insha mawdi al khabar. This actually comes under ilmul ma'ani, science of semantics. Okay. So next one, we got sallat alayhi al malaika. What do you think this means? Now the angels are the fa'il of sallat. So what does this mean now? So we started off mean praying, to lead, to bless. Now we got sallat alayhi al malaika. Okay, so notice here the file has changed. So the thing we're trying to paint a picture is whenever we have to contextualize the word, we can't always go off the surface meaning of the word and say this is what this word translates as. You have to look at what the file is. Is there any prepositions that can probably impact the meaning? And once you develop this understanding, then you'll get a feel for the language, how you actually say certain how certain verbs are used, and then you'll move away from literal translation. Okay, so anyone on this one? Okay, the angels prayed for him. The angels prayed for him. So when it comes with angels, it means to pray. Okay, so the angels, okay, prayed for him. So when it's a person praying salat, it means to pray. The actual namaz, when it comes with ba, it means to lead. When it comes as Allah, Ismul Jalal as the file, it means to bless. And when it comes with angels, it means to pray for someone. Okay? So this is just this word salah. Now let's tease your brains a bit more. Daraba. What does daraba mean? This one's this one no one should really get wrong because we've all gone through the example of daraba Zaydun Amran. Zayd hit Amr. There's a whole, story behind that. ضرب زيد عمرا. Zayd hit Amr. Then Duriba Zaydun. Zayd was hit. We don't know. Did Amr get a hitman to hit Zayd? Zayd was hit. Then Darabtu Zaydan Mashdudan. I hit Zayd whilst he was tied. An example for Hal. And it just goes on and on and on and on. Okay, so Daraba means hit. What? Okay, two. Good. Okay, so Daraba Zaydun Amran means. What does Daraba Zaydun Amran mean? Okay, so Zayd hit Amr. That's fine. How about Daraballahu Mathalan? Allah is the fa'il now, and we've used it with the maf'ul bihi, the word mathal. So what does this mean now? Allah gave an example. That's fine. Allah cited an example. So it's supposed to be daraba, a dot there, okay? So a bit of typo error there. Next one, daraba al-qalbu. By the way, you might not get all these meanings as handswear because handswear is not the ultimate dictionary. Okay, so you have to move on to other dictionaries as well somewhere. Arabic dictionaries like Lisan al-Arab, Al-Qamus, etc. The dog bite, referring to heartbeat. Heartbeat. The heart throbbed, beated. So ضرب القلب. ضرب زيد موعدا. Notice here that the maf'uls are changing, the fa'il are changing. That can impact the meaning. Zayd hit a maw'id. Is that the meaning? What does this mean? ضرب زيد موعدا. These verbs, examples are used in Arabic. Okay, so when we get used to knowing that there's more to hitting when it comes to the word ضرب, then our understanding of the language will increase. Okay, so Zayd made a promise. Zayd agreed a time. ضرب, to agree. Okay, Zayd agreed a time. ضرب على كلمة. What does this mean? Obviously, the fa'il is hidden, which is huwa. You could say he, something, a kalima. What's happening here? ضرب على كلمة. What do you think this means? You can put it in Google Translate as well, but that's not always accurate. Okay, so that's not always the option. Okay, just opening up the meaning of the word daraba, that we should not always look at the surface or primary meaning of daraba. There's more to it. To erase. He erased the word. Very good, mashallah. Okay, so daraba Zaydun ala kalimatin means Zayd erased a word. So look at the context. Ala kalima. But if we just look at daraba, we're going to say he hit upon a word. We're going to translate everything literally and say he hit upon a word. No, he erased a word. So we have to move on from the surface meaning of the verbs, and then we'll enhance our Arabic. Okay. A lot of times we shy away from actually, you know, reading Arabic books. One of the reasons is because we find text challenging and then we give up. That is the time where we need to go through the struggle and make sense of the text. Without making sense of any text, we'll never improve. Okay, you have to always try. Don't look for always the easy option when looking at text. ضرب نقودا. So he something نقود. ضرب نقودا. So notice here the maf'ul is changing. Okay, مثل there, amr there, person, heart is the file here, time is here, appointment. على كلمة نقود. نقود. Anybody? ضرب نقودا. Okay, thinking. You might not find these words in the Hanswa as well. Like I said to you, Hanswa is not the only dictionary. Okay, and I would actually encourage people to use the other dictionaries as well. Don't only rely on Hanswa. Okay, pick up Arabic to Arabic dictionaries. That is where your understanding will even improve even more because you're actually learning the meaning of an Arabic word through Arabic. So what it does is it compels you to work out what the basic and easy understanding of that word is. He gave cash. Oh, you can give me cash at this rate. He minted money. You know, when people mint money, yeah, they make money, mint money. He minted money. That's probably where the word comes from. He's minted. Okay. ضرب نقودا. He minted money. Okay. ضرب في الأرض. ضرب في الأرض. So notice here we're using the earth here with في الأرض to travel. MashaAllah, that was very good. وإذا ضربتم في الأرض فليس عليكم جناح أن تقصروا من الصلاة. So ضرب في الأرض to travel. Okay, so that response came, mashallah, very quick. ضرب الليل. ضرب الليل. ضرب الليل. The night went. ضرب الليل. Okay, anybody else? ضرب, we definitely know it does not mean hit because the night can't hit. Okay, the night went. You're close if you add probably two more letters onto that. Okay, how do you get all those meanings? Are those from experience? No, that's actually in the dictionary. Okay, if you check up Arabic dictionaries, it'll give you these words, these different, the usage of the meaning of these words in these different scenarios and contexts. And the more you read, you just have to read, 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 and read. Okay. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. That's the only way you're going to improve Arabic. You can't just learn grammar. Okay, grammar is just telling you how the language works. After you've learned how the language works, you have to embrace the language. Okay, and the only way to do that is just read, read, and read. And then what happens is, after a certain time of reading, your brain intercepts those words very easily. But if you don't read a lot, if you haven't got a habit of reading, then your understanding of the text becomes very limited. Okay, so you can't say to someone that without reading you know the meaning of these words. It's impossible, unless someone's born knowing this language inside out. But it's very rarely that happens. Okay, you have to interact with text. You have to interact with probably people in Arabic. How do they use daraba, etc. This is just a few words. I'm giving an example. Okay, so daraba layl means the night was long. So the night went on. So the night went, if you put on, probably like on for long, probably was a close shot. Okay. Inshallah, I hope you found today's lesson very useful. Like I said, inshallah, there's probably another two more lessons probably left in terms of content I've prepared. I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson and you've got a good understanding of the verb patterns and what it means by mithal, ajwaf, naqis, and mudha'af. And in the Handsworth Dictionary 2 till 10 don't always give you the verb patterns because it's auto-generated. So if you use that sheet, which is provided in the on the dashboard, it will help you in your journey in Arabic. And every verb is contextualized. You have to look at the context of it. Don't just jump into the surface meaning of words. That's another thing we learned, obviously, along with the whole khulasa and summary of the abbreviations. Something exciting is coming up as well, inshallah, in this course as well. So we will be basically um, doing reading through some humorous Arabic, like jokes, etc., inshallah, which are prepared. But the purpose of it is not just the jokes. It's going to be working out the meaning of the text by checking the words in the Handsworth Dictionary. So a bit of humor, inshallah, coming up as well. Okay, in the coming lessons. Okay, so probably the next lesson we might touch upon some of it, and then the last lesson will cover a bit more, inshallah. The Ta'if, okay? So a bit of like humorous jokes in Arabic, etc. So if you want to, inshallah, carry on with the course, by all means, next week, inshallah, 6:30, join the group. And if you haven't, join the Telegram support group. And for any other courses you want to interested in, there are you can check out the website www.sidrainstitute.com, where we alhamdulillah currently we're doing an Arabic rhetoric course, Arabic conversational course, just Arabic language course. So we cover دروس اللغة العربية. For that, for the conversation, it's العربية بين يديك. And for the Arabic rhetoric, alhamdulillah, it's a book which I've compiled myself. It's not been published, but it's lessons which I've created on PowerPoint. And obviously the Arab course, which we completed a couple of weeks ago. Well, it's been over a month. That's completed A to Z what you need to know about Arab through, well, a lot of drills are from the Quran, etc. And now this is obviously another course which we've decided to get out there to us, searching for words in the Handsware Dictionary, and there are two more coming soon. Okay, so for now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.